Hi, everybody. Welcome to our review of Lil Darkie's new album, This Does Not Exist. Spoiler alert, it exists. This is the Headspace Podcast, the show where we break down new hip-hop albums like Lil Darkie's This Does Not Exist, which exists, down track by track, giving our thoughts and opinions on every single song. My name is Holden Stephan Roy.
My name is Chris Chrome.
And we are so excited to be here. I'm freaking excited to be here discussing Lil Darkie's project that came out. It came out January 1st, 2020. We're in the year 2020 now, so it seemed fitting to ignore December and I admit a lot of good stuff came out in the second half of December, and I decided I wanted a couple weeks off, so I took some weeks off, and we didn't review any of that. And now we're in 2020, looking forward to the future and whatnot. So
with our 2020 vision.
Yeah, that's a terrible joke. I hope a lot of people don't overkill.
I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna do it.
The last Headspace podcast, which was it last week? No, I don't even think it was
No,
2 weeks ago.
Headspace, yeah, it was like
2 weeks
3
ago.
weeks ago.
Chris talked about Cameron's new project, Purple Haze 2, and nobody commented. So there's no favorite comment on last week. Because yes, there were 2 comments. They weren't related to Chris or the review. So we're looking forward to seeing your comments on this Lil Darkie project, and that's really cool in my opinion. Let me know what you think. Let us know what you think about any of it. It's gonna be lengthy. We're gonna talk a lot. It's gonna be tangents up the freaking wazoo. If you're into that short, concise stuff, don't click on videos this long. So this is gonna probably end up being the first half of the project. And before we jump up into that, special thanks in advance to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black Hurricane, Linda Blames, Coney Sparks, DJ Black Hurricane. I said that twice. Scribble. Whoops. Chris, what album are we talking about on this fine new episode of the Headspace Podcast?
So for this week's Headspace Podcast, episode 154, we are doing Lil Darkie's new album, This Does Not Exist.
But it does. I know a lot of people in my personal life that will not listen to an artist because they have Lil on their name. And this is my opportunity to say fuck all the people that don't want to listen to artists because they have Lil in their name. I'm listening to people with Lil in their name because I'm not prejudiced like that. Not related to much, just wanted to get it off my chest. So the truth of the matter is, this is the part of the show where we like to break down our familiarity with the artist, like the person.
Don't know him.
A lot of cases we've heard of the person, and we came along the way. We realized people wanted to know why we chose the people we chose, etc. Well, allow me to be clear. I looked up on the internet what albums came out recently. And we like to focus a little bit on the hip-hop because this is what we focus on over here on the Headspace. And there wasn't a lot, like, in the last week. It's almost like something about the holiday period has all the musicians and record labels and people going, fuck off, give us a week or 2 off. And, like, virtually, like, nothing comes out over this period. Like, it's such a tiny amount of projects released. We did get Justin Bieber's brand new single, which I've yet to listen to.
Yummy.
Which I like Bieber. I'm a Canadian. Bieber did a lot for Canadian music. And I saw Lil Darkie came out, and then I put on some of Lil Darkie stuff, and then I'll be honest, Lil Darkie won the raffle of the stuff I wanted to review the most of the snippet shuffling through 7 artists of people and the other stuff that came out. Lil Darkie just got, like, there was nothing else. Lil Darkie does not have the hugest Twitter following. So I tweeted him. I hope he got my tweet. But he seems like a really, like I'm surprised, Like, I was hoping he'd be a lot, like, more popping than he was. And that's just Twitter. It doesn't mean shit. Anyway, Lil Darkie's part of the collectives Spider Gang, which has a lot of people I never heard of, and Gunk Rock, which has a bunch of people I never heard of, but the producers involved in this project. So he's part of collectives, which I like because those collectives are doing some interesting stuff. If I'm not mistaken, he drew his character of Lil Darkie and does his own little artwork for it. And that's the best I could find on the internet about the guy before we, like, really got into it. I tried. The guys without Wikipedia pages means it's really fucking hard. And I know he probably has thousands of little Instagram live videos and stuff I could have watched, but I was more focused on the music. Let's get into talking about this. This title is called This Does Not Exist. It exists. That's all I got to say about that. I love the cover. It's got a nice painting feel to it. It feels like there's a lot going on. Like those red tooth things kind of feel violent, like a vicious creature is attacking the Lil Darkie character. So the blood splats everywhere is how I'm picturing it. But I love the art style. Like that shit is just a fucking poster I want on my wall.
Kind of feel like it's actually supposed to be a trail and it's supposed to be a non-existent thing. Like if you look at the Lil Darkie character, he's got like a little red line in the middle of his head, and then when you look at the album cover, it kind of seems like the character has been walking and the red line is kind of like leaving a trail behind, as if it's like a ghost phantom type demonic thing. I really like the art style. I like the grittiness, griminess to it. It doesn't look like it was painted with care. It looks like it was just kind of roughly designed and to be this like this kind of edgy, sketchy image that kind of portrays in your brain when you kind of look at like when you think of things like this.
It does do. It matches the emotion that I felt for the bulk of this album. Like the average emotion is conveyed in that artwork, that chaotic feeling and whatnot, which I thought was really cool.
I feel that. I want to take a second.
Does it have a 2-0 on his body in the bottom left corner?
Give me a second. Let me just open up.
I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just looking for it because it's 2020.
I mean, it looks like there's a 2-0. It kind of looks like it's a little edged out, but it could just be like two circles or another little face. But it's cool how like his teeth kind of match the background, and I just really like. And this is something cool because it's going to stick out. It's going to. I'm not gonna forget this because I feel like I'm gonna see this when I look at white walls and stuff like that. Like it's just gonna be there. It's gonna be imprinted in my brain for some reason because it's a really nice, and it kind of looks like it's an animal if you look like that little ear behind him, the white and black looks like an ear, kind of look like a rabbit or type of thing. Either way, it's a very nice designed album cover. I do want to take a second to talk about the album name. This does not exist, where I think it speaks a lot. I think this is going to be an introspective album, or at least it's considered to be a mixtape. As it says off of Love Bug 666. This is Darkie's 2020 mixtape, but whatever. Now, the interesting part about the title is that what doesn't exist? Is it the concept? Is it the message? Is it the things he's going to be talking about that, like, these are just things that are in his head, things that he feels, things that he sees? I feel like there's a lot to the title that he chose to use, just myself.
Fair enough. I feel like there's some deeper purpose, but maybe I'm too old to understand it, or I just don't get it, or maybe I get it and it's ironic and I don't like it. That's fine. Let's talk about some rap music. Wendigo is a fucking genius. That is an excellent fucking beat. Like, holy shit. It's just twangy and folky and weird, and you're like, what the shit is this beat?
I feel like I can picture like a big rodeo.
And then like it picks up with this punk rock edge once it like kicks in, and it's just fucking like you just want to jump around and mosh. Now, I don't really know what to expect, but I was on the elliptical when I first listened to it, and I felt it very easy to maintain a higher stride per minute rate or whatever you fucking call it, listening to the fast-paced energy that came from this little rap music song. And I love the title just being rap music and the sound coming off like this. It's just so fucking trollish in a sense.
Is it though? Because like I kind of found it to be very, very cool in terms of like what is rap music nowadays. Like there's so many interpolations of what the sounds are, what hip hop could be, what what we get from music. That this is like, let's be clear, his rhyming and his flows are on point.
It's fucking crazy.
Like, and that's rap.
I do agree that it is a commentary on what rap music. I do think that this is an interesting way to talk about the mainstream. Yeah. Unlike other albums we reviewed this weekend. Ooh, that's groovy, man. My mind flies, wide eyes, I cry for all the people that died. Yeah, Why expect a thing? Why try? Really, this fucking guy caught a label. And like all of that is just kind of like scattered, and his vocals are kind of tucked down, and it just feels fucking weird.
I do want to comment though. It goes, oh, that's groovy, man, and there's a bunch of gibberish, but I like how.
And then as my mind flies, wide eyes I cry.
Right, but I like how the gibberish kind of acts as a cartoon scene. Like really building into this cartoon character of Lil Darkie.
And then like he kind of like is almost questioning here the overall essence of what's the point of like trying with people dying and shit, just in like a loose kind of way. And then the label guy nobody gives an answer, or it kind of feels like they're not getting it. It's like, I fucking call a label, let me do what I want. Or it's almost like we have to call a label. Lil Darkie's not fucking doing what he's supposed to do. Either way, follows that up, that little protest in the middle of the track, which is fucking interesting, with why accept a thing? Why do we buy into it? And then where am I in the wrong time? Oh well, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Which is interesting because I feel like that's a play on what we're getting already, because this doesn't sound like anything you would be listening to in 2019.
But it also feels like it's calling back to an earlier,
Yeah.
way earlier time when the live jazz music...
Oh, 2020, my bad.
In the 1920s, when the live jazz music was really upbeat and chaotic and spastic, kind of like this. So maybe he's kind of pointing out I'm in the wrong century like that. And then Ain't Nobody Dance No More, See the Pain on My Pants I Tore. And I'm not going to really try to go through this all line by line. It's a mind fuck. This album feels like being on drugs in terms of going through it. Like Lil Darkie likes drugs. And then, well, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
And this feels like the kind of shit that you want people to make when they do drugs. Like they used to do that back in the day with prog rock and stuff, and then we were like, don't do drugs no more. Fuck that. Do drugs and make music that sounds like this. It's fucking incredible and so interesting to listen to. Like at the very, like I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna come up with some crazy mind expanding shit, that's dope to me.
But I like how he starts off right away, right? Ain't nobody dance no more. See the paint up on my pants I tore. Now I melt off. And I bet I'll see you lurking in the corner, you whore. Now
I'm in your brain, I'm in your head, and I'm a loiter, we pour.
I like that. I like how, and just as he started off, ain't nobody dance no more. And I'm kind of just like, I see that. Like, I see that. Like, genuinely dance. It's always these, like, weird dances that are coming off of these rap tracks and shit. But nobody's really dancing. It's like these doped out leans, these, like...
But I guess the breakdancing side of the culture seems to have gone away. But even in our youthful states, it's not like we're all trying to go to a dancery and have a good time. The club and bar scene is literally dying in North America, and it's almost a literal commentary on the current state of music. People like to mosh and jump. They don't really dance. Like if you look at a lot of that turn-up music, it's really to mosh to. It's hip-hop got mosh pits all of a sudden. I like that. Don't get me wrong, but it's an interesting point. And then I like how he says now I melt off, but he uses I as in EYE.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, it looks like he fucking uploaded the lyrics because they're fucking stupidly formatted. It was a torture to read it, but all lyrics verified by Lil Darkie. I think dude just fucking uploaded his notepad file like this with all his fucking terrible ass formatting.
I like how now when he says now I melt off, I feel like he's alluding to some type of hallucinogen.
You know, he's fucking
like,
tripping.
The eye is like literally his eye is melting, but him himself with the wordplay, like now I melt off,
then,
like him himself.
While he's tripping, he's gonna see you in the corner, you whore. But he's in your brain and your head, and I'm a loiter, we pour. So like, if you look at the more outcasty side of people, the more dredges, he's gonna be like more sticky to that people, is what I kind of took from that. But also like, more on the boring side, he's going to be more of an affront to them. But he's almost like calling together, like, we poor. Like, we just, this side of life, we just do what we got to do.
I can't afford to be bored.
Which is amazing because it plays off the we poor. But then I can't afford to be bored. But because we poor, I don't have that luxury in my life to have time off to be bored. I'm going to have to fucking keep rolling. Following up with that and when I'm riding with the gang, we on the border, be warned. So he can't afford to be bored, so they're always moving. And now they're on the border of the gang situation because they come from LA, if I'm not mistaken. And then whenever you hear LA and gang borders, you know that shit can be real fucked up. And like from what I understand, like walking up the block could be crossing a border, and that's a problem. When I'm yelling, I be feeling what I'm born to be for. And then it's like he has this aggressive yelling tone, but when you look at the context of being poor and trying to grind through it, it's like all you're left with is to scream into the music, this more punkish, highly like moshable music. This is beautiful sound. This is good moshing music though. But it's also got like, you could probably swing to this. I did some basic swing dancing, and it's in the right tempo and thing where you could probably swing to this. You could also have swinging sex, but I meant more swing dancing. I don't know. I mean, there's so much like kind of happening in this track as he kind of feels so stream of consciousness, but also done in a way where it feels like there's a link in a flow. So after he says what he's yelling, and I be smelling all the elements, there's going to be war, and I'll be ready, I'll be standing up the wall that they build now. So we flip here from his circumstances and situations to kind of smelling the tension in the air, like there's a war building up. I mean, literally look on the news today, some eerie shit happening, commenting a bit on the walls that get built up. Now that's probably a commentary on the wall of Mr. Trump, but also
division, segregation, and all
in
of
the
these
way
things
that we are culturally doing, even within the music sectors or as humans and whatnot. Knock you down, divide the whole field, cow. I can't fail, I never go to sleep. For people sucking on my dick, you better get up out of here. So everything's kind of paranoid, everything's kind of fucked up, and people are kind of dick riders. And then I love how he flips it, and like his voice changes a lot. I mean, I haven't had enough time to properly map it out, but it's just like these songs just take you on trips, and this beat's just fucking crazy. Fight Club people don't talk about it, walk about it, fucking with a spider person, pick a daisy, kick a bucket.
Which I like, because first rule about Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club. But I like how he's like, walk up out it, like if you choose to be part of this, you know, life, career, XYZ, whatever, this fight, let's call it, you don't talk about it. You just got to keep going. You got to just keep one up someone else, which was cool.
And man, like honestly, there's just so much. Like I keep saying that, but it feels like so intense listening to it. Like I got my fair share of problems. Any person want to solve them? You see a lick when you rob them. I see a lick, then I stop on the block and I pause them, which is kind of.
Well, it continues, sir. I've been at home eating ramen. Are you aware that I do not agree how the law been? Which is cool, right? So, I got my fair share of problems. So, you know, he's just claiming like he's got his own issues. Does anybody want to solve them? But I also feel like he's kind of alluding to like, I got issues, you got issues. Now, how we choose to deal with our issues are different, right? So he claims you see a lick, then rob them. So you might have issues being poor or whatever it is, or XYZ, and you see somebody with money or something that you don't have, you think robbing them is going to solve your issue. On the other hand, Lil Darkie's kind of saying like, I want to bring light to some of the issues that really matter. Here is the issues that matter. I'm at home eating ramen, and I'm aware that the laws that have been agreed upon are not working. Like,
and then he just goes on some real shit. Mama keeps sobbing, crying. Give me $1 and I can buy things for her. I can try being sober. Getting high is a lower form of life. Going slower than a slug or a bug. In anarchic webs, I'ma stack these heads in the back, pretend. But what I like about that is it's almost like my mom could give me $1 and I could go buy her a thing, or I could go buy drugs. And it's just like, that's the truth of the situation.
But I
and
like
so he's
that
touching on that like personalized thing where it's like, as much as I want to do all this, I'm probably just gonna go buy drugs.
Which I like that honesty. I like how he's playing up on this chaotic honesty where he's like, this is the type, I feel like he's kind of expressing like, this is the type of world we come from, and these are some of the options that we are kind of given, and we're most likely to maybe go try to escape buying drugs or whatnot, but this is also what we should be doing when we're handed these opportunities.
And then he does the whole, like, there's a couple more lines, and then he goes into the ain't nobody dance no more and repeats that little chorusy part all the way down to there's gonna be war and I'll be ready, you know, the whole wall thing just repeats it all the way down. So it's like half the track there kind of gets repeated. Then he goes, I am not a human, I am idea that you cannot kill, I am in the field, got soil to till, and I'm gonna run it with my people till we buy in the ville. And I kind of like that too, where it's like look, it's not really me. I represent this bigger ethereal idea, this movement, this bigger thing. We're going to grind until we have accomplished and set out to what we are to do. And then basically the next thing kind of repeats it in different language. And overall, like, with the whole punk, folk, weird musical vibe and just crazy energy, I was blown away. And I had to give this a 4.5. Like, it's a really strong track.
I gave it a 4 on 5 only because, and I'm going to get it out of the way now,
You'll never listen to this because you don't like this kind of music.
there is some style choices here that I made.
This shit's so punk rock. It's so like Travis.
It's great. It's
Travis
great.
Barker may as well have been involved in the making of this
Like,
record.
It is great. Just not for Chris Chrome.
That's totally fine.
4 on 5.
So when Chris heard the first track, he's like, "Fuck, Holden's gonna like it, and I'll be in good mourning." All I gotta say is the same thing I said when I started out the last track. Wendigo's a genius. Holy shit! Like, this beat just sounds so funky. Or no, this one's by Solsa. Solsa's a genius on this one. Sorry, Wendigo's also a genius. I apologize. But holy crap, just the kind of sounds that were in the background of this, it's so alive and interesting and kind of like sucked me in a lot. And I'm like, man, the production is so fascinating. And then just the way like Lil Darkie starts us off like, good morning, not very sad, how boring, everybody else get to wake up grieving, don't wake up, doesn't that sound pleasing? I'm like, that's some dark shit. Okay. So I like how he flips the good morning into like sadness, like the mourning, like when you lose somebody in your life.
I kind of took it as more like you walk into work, somebody who's really positive is like, oh, good morning, and you're kind of like fucking good about it. That
But
like,
also, well, I look at it like you just wake up out of bed and everything's just boring. Like, so many other people in your life may have tragedies or traumas, and they're full of pain and sadness and dark when they wake up. And you wake up and you don't have that. And then it's like the idea of waking up dead or suicide or whatever is even appealing at this point because maybe you're not necessarily interested in life. So I think it's a commentary on people who are jealous that other people are miserable, which is a real thing. So like when people see other people going through trauma and they empathize with that desire to go through their own personal trauma just so that they have something to go on about. And maybe I'm wrong.
yeah.
But I think Lil Darkie's like that. I like him already. This guy's fucking fantastic. I hope Lil Darkie watches this. And then he goes, this is not that pleasing. And he responds, pussy, you won't. I don't got time for the threats, you're lying. Everyone here always end up dying. So you're not going to kill yourself. I don't have the time or the patience to deal with your fucking bullshit because people are actually dying. There's actual shit. Better get used to it if you're going to be anything at all. Fuck it, bury the hatchet but cannot bury the shovel. So that's an interesting point. Like, you can kind of bury your grudges and shit, but the shovel, which was going to be used to deal with people dying and shit, is still a real part of it, the situation. Overall, like the way he just kind of paints this picture, the stream of consciousness flow in the way he like spits it to me is just, it's fascinating, right? Because it's like, I mean, this one feels a lot more like a rap song than the last track did. That last track felt more like an experimental, joyful, beautiful melange. But this one fucking comes in proper. Like, I become worried a bubble's gonna pop, married to trouble, I'm getting hairy to stubble growing, which is a crazy interesting like series of lines from a writing perspective, right? So after putting out the whole context of like the not safe environment he's in, he's worried that maybe his safety bubble, his protection in life is gonna end. Married to trouble, I'm getting hairy, and a hairy situation is a bad situation like trouble, and then the stubble's growing, and stubble is fucking hair, and he's getting hairy means he's growing stubble. Oh, I like that. Scary, the rubble covered the rocks, and that's interesting, because, like, you know, by having stubble, maybe you cover, like, patches or whatever on your face.
Right.
Overall, it's just like, it's a strong verse. I don't know if I want to go through the whole album line by line because then we'll be here for freaking ever. But like, it's just his quality of writing is just fucking real proper. I enjoy how he ends the verse with, I don't got another opportunity, immunity from death. I feel puny from the rest. I feel tiny like a pest. Something bigger will be best. Stress. And just kind of on that self-doubt of a situation where I don't know, like, I don't feel like I feel like he understands that life is finite and this is his chance, and he's kind of created this character to escape death in a conventional sense, so he has an immunity to it. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, he feels tiny, like, etc.
I like what he says in the second verse. Well, move on to the chorus. Do or die, you're alive. Pussy, you won't, do or die, you're alive. I don't remember it sounding like that. I kind of just, I guess the way I read it when it was first annotated, because this doesn't look the same way as when I first reviewed. Kind of looks more, the way that it's annotated now, it looks more...
I feel like a genius moderator is going to come through and clean up the lyrics for Lil Darkie.
Right. But what I kind of got from the chorus was like, it's either you do something about the circumstances or your situations, or you're just going to end up dying anyway. But the fact that he uses "you're alive" is like kind of reinforcing the idea of like, as long as you're feeling something, remember that you're still feeling and that you're alive.
Yeah, I feel like this song is commentating on people wasting their life in a more abstract way. I could be wrong.
I do like in verse 2 when Lil Darkie says, "Bitch, I once knew a crip, that dyke and I bought some acid. Nice and high, to my surprise, she was awry and non-passive. She said, I got no time for life, then swipe a knife. I'm the one being attacked and pupil grow iris blacken. What to do when someone cool, a dude or gal, is rude as hell? Get out of my life, start your packing." Like, I like how he's taking this really, I guess, personal moment in his life to really explain, like, you need to watch yourself. You need to make sure that you're looking over your own back. And if people are coming for you, you got to cut them out. Or if they're not on your team, you got to cut them out with this, like, scenario that's happening. That's kind of what I got.
It also feels like he's just fucking tripping out, and he's kind of elaborating maybe on some of the intensity of the moments that exist within his world in this do or die circumstance. Like, so he knew a crip, that dyke and I bought some acid, nice and high, she was a riot, whatever. So it's interesting that the crip is a dyke. That's what I'm hearing from that. Anyway, can we say dyke? Is that a bad word now? That probably is a bad word we shouldn't say. Pupil glow, iris blacken, which is interesting, right? Because it's kind of showing like somebody's tripped out and she's got a knife, she's slashing at him and he's fucking high as a kite. But it's also probably just a metaphor for like some of the more regular circumstances, what it's like to be in a drug, in a situation with gang members that are high, like on fucking perkies and shit. Like fucking a big bitch, get backing up. I'm stacking a nickel and diamond to bag him up. You are the artwork, get tatted up, embedded in a bigger diamond and satin rug. And it feels like he's almost typing out the mindset of the distributors of crack as a more than like he's like painting this illustrious commentary on what he sees and the justifications he sees for it all, but also putting his little twist on it. A son of a gun, I'm not gonna be not done. I'm gonna go and run for the fun, and until we got no sun, I'm an animal while I'm hugging an enemy. No, you won't see the enemy. I ain't hear what you said to me. All the people is dead to me like the back of a centipede. I don't really know what that means in terms of the back of a centipede part. Also, if you hear sirens, sorry. There's sirens in the background right now, and that's just kind of what's up with that. Overall, that verse just felt like it was kind of really laying down the environment of where he's from, and I thought it was really, really strong. Other than that, he goes back into this good morning. Birds chirp, the world turn while burning. Birds chirp, the world turn while burning. Birds chirp, the world turn while, and then there's like a little pause or a space or whatever. It goes burning, and then he does his little do or die, you're alive, pussy, you won't, whatever. And the song just kind of ends, and I feel like when you re-listen to that do or die thing, it's almost like looking at that gangbanger mentality, like how you ride, but it's also reminding you that you're alive and that, you know, a lot of people might be claiming this shit in a form of cowardice where they're not real with it or something. Either way, this track's a 5. It's amazing. It's so fucking good.
I do like the good morning birds chirp, the world turn while burning. That, like,
It's dope.
That aspect of, for a brief moment, you could be in like a positive state, but just remember what's really around you when you like come to reality is kind of how I look at that. Because it does have this, the song does have this like feel of like not happiness. Like, it's supposed to be like, this is what some people go through. This is what's kind of happening in the real world. So it was cool. I gave it a 4.2 on 5.
Fair enough. Next up, we can talk about Composition 3 in red, white, and black. This shit's awesome! Okay, Chris, talk your shit so I can talk. Do your thing. I don't like the beat. Wendigo, who's a genius, is not somebody I think is a genius. Of stylistic differences, right? Anything else?
Oh my god. I don't know, dude. This was fucking noise to me. Honestly, it was just...
Felt so industrial driven, just
like,
smashing through.
I really like the creative aspect of it, and I really do give Wendigo his credit for like
so cool
what he does with sound. It is just so amazing. But I reviewed this at like 10 o'clock this morning, and this was not something that my brain was like, what? Like, I don't know, dude. Just, I don't know. For me, this really felt like noise. I liked when Lil Darkie said, are you ready? Are you ready? I've been drunk, walking steady off the alcohol and the medi. I'm addicted to not thinking. I like that idea where he's being honest again, and he's kind of like really bringing this conversation of drug use, narcotic use, escapism, trying to like, you know, not really have to deal with reality. But then I like where he follows up somewhere else and fuck your color, fuck a follower amount, what you about, homie, shout if you are tired of the clout. So it's like, I feel like he's also addressing this like lifestyle that people are living because they're just trying to get that social media gain. They're just trying to fake it till you make it, in a sense. And he's really just trying to be authentic. That's really all I got. It's got a 3.5 on 5 because it just is a lot. That's it.
I mean, a lot of the Lil Darkie experience seems to be this stream of consciousness flow of fucking lyrics, which, again, feel kind of like he's on drugs and he's, like, flowing through, which, in my opinion, comes off in a really interesting way. Like, just the way this starts, sir, I think something wrong. No, it's okay. And then he just fucking pops in, like, this sounds fucking off, everything's kind of crazy, and he's like, nah, it's all good. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I be drunk, walking steady out the alcohol and medi. I'm addicted to not thinking. Are you ready? So we're already looking at the indulgence and the way that we black out and the way that we block things off and we're not thinking, you know? And then I like how he plays up on right after that. And this song like flips up. Like it's like red, white, and black. And it's like 3 separate compositions. So this first part I think is red. It's to reflect this more angry, aggressive a tone of things. And so I don't think this person ready. Why you talking like you is and then you isn't? Why you petty? So why you being fake? Why you talking your rumors? Why you doing whatever? Then he goes like let me a bunch of times and it kind of serves as a little bridge. And then if I keep using like I'm choosing to, then by the time I'm 50 you'll be losing, dude. I had to grow up. I humbled myself. So that's an interesting point where he starts almost questioning his own use and then kind of talking to himself like you're not going to make it to 50 and be functional if like you do that. So to humble myself out, I'm not immortal. There are consequences. It's kind of what I took from it. Mm-hmm. This body's not mine. It's the people came before me, and the moments make a story I'm ignoring while I'm bugging. I might be tweaking. I be shrugging off the weekends. So it's almost like he recognizes the importance of staying alive and being the vessel in his message as he's doing, but simultaneously he's trying to ignore this craving for drugs and shit. Reefer, reeking, reaping. That's a great line. Reefer, reeking, reaping. That's amazing. It's just like a bunch of pot, stanky ass shit there. Everything I sow, like cutting up the farm, cut up a leaf and seed it, so you get your weed, and then you plant a new patch. Week and then I go proceed to blow. So what's interesting is like he's kind of on the faded, and then he goes to proceed to blow, like pop, but also probably moving into some cocaine. Or how you moving slow in the river. So how you moving slow is means fucking racing. You gotta row. It's more like blah, 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 and fuck that shit, an impossible prick get beat the fuck up outside his own show by some black kids attacked while you saying though. And that's interesting. So I think we moved into the white part because the beat flips up and it's a little bit different. And then I looked it up. He looks Latino. I found him talking on Instagram Live. I couldn't really figure out what he is because there's not a lot of information. Either way, so I don't know if he's commenting on just white kids using that word or whatever. You ain't bring a trigger though, bitch. You want to spread pain. Been a lot of bitches sickened by the way I'm in their brain. Seen you bought a fucking ticket. Fill my pockets, you insane figures. Ain't a person here finna listen through the shame. And it's cool. It just kind of still has this like vapid, aggressive energy. And I really like when he goes, fuck your color, fuck a follower amount, what you about, shout if you're tired of the clout. So it's almost like commentating, or I don't know if it's ironic or sincere, but pointing out everyone's numbers, obsessions, and the shit like that we're kind of used to, the clout chasiness, like I am, wet him up, I hate everything you motherfuckers stand for. And then he's like, fuck a Patek, fuck a Rolly, I'm a faggot, I'm the man. I thought that was interesting. It's like, fuck your watches, I'm gay. I don't know if he's actually gay, but that's what it kind of came through when I heard that. Then I think the page literally just updated on me on Genius. Like, it forced an update on me, and it formatted correctly. Wow. Genius is powerful. Anyway, so I got lost where I fucking was because Genius updated the page on me. Anyway, then he goes into this like deep voiced, more standard, I guess you could say, rap things where I think this is the black part because he flipped the flow from sounding like a white guy to sounding more like a black guy. And then it's got more of a trappier sound to the beat. And he's like, highs and lows, I know a float up might surprise you. So he's kind of like, hey, look, I can do regular rap. You know, I keep pain inside my body, gotta let him out. And that's a weird line, or a cool one, because the idea of pain being a hymn that exists inside of you, scream till everything's tearing at the seams, they don't want none of that. So the way he produces his music and invents out his emotions, it's like people aren't accepting to it. People are probably hating on him for being weird and different, whatever. Fuck person talking about his butthole for what though? For every person I know hella cut through, I'm rolling with a crutch. So you be the one that disabled. Think Cain hated Abel, lay his head on the table, and I used just a fable, looking like a bagel. That's a weird line, looking like a bagel. But I like the idea of how Cain probably didn't hate Abel. It was just kind of the circumstance of the situation that led to that moment. He lay his head on the table. That's what happened there. Anyway, I thought it was just a powerful, crazy, interesting experience with like the rest of this album. And I gave it a 4.5. Like, I'm blown away. Like, this, I'm going to try this year to make a list video at the end of the year for my favorite albums. This might make my favorite albums of the year at the end of the year, just on personal preference and style. Plus, it's so fucking crazy. 3 tracks, 3 styles and sounds coming through. Already, Wendigo's a genius, like we said. 4.5 on 5, like I said. I don't think there's anything more to comment on this one. So we can move on. I'm adding the word on, because you can. Who's a genius? Wendigo's a genius. I don't know if Wendigo's gonna watch this review. Lil Darkie, if you watch it, let Wendigo know. Holden says he's a genius. This comes out like the duh, and it kind of sounds like those shitty ad-libs that generic rappers will throw in at the beginning of their things. See, this is funny. So instead of being like, I feel like these rappers are on lean and take too long to start their verses like right. Jerry Robinson did in our last review, he just makes fun of it. More like Hobson did in his little mumble rap track he made, which was pretty fucking funny how Hobson did that. And then it just kind of flows in this more upbeat kind of punk. Like, again, man, if you're on an elliptical, this album is a good friend to you for that upbeat rhythm. And then I just love that, like, hook or chorus. Do that thing because another person said so. Do that thing because another person said so. Do that thing because another human said so. Don't do that thing because another human said so. And that's a powerful, like, I feel like it's powerful, especially over to punk, because it really taps into that punk energy of like commenting on how everyone just behaves because of social norms, and it's so strange. I mean, personally, I find it strange. Like, I am a 32-year-old with long hair in a corporate office. People definitely have opinions, and you'd be surprised at how often people dress in the same uniforms and all this other crap. They all live in a way. Like, the amount of people who just started smoking weed because it's legal in Canada. Like, it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you could have been doing it the whole time, and you just, oh, the law says I'm allowed, so I'm allowed now. It's like, are you kidding? Or all the people who were drinking
Yeah.
The law says I'm allowed. Turns out that drinking a glass of wine every day in the context of how Americans do it, not like the way that France do it, always with food, whatever. Maybe there's an argument to be had about their alcoholic preferences, always with food, for the most part, in terms of the wine. But the way you just drink a glass of wine on its own after, it's not good for you. It's actually bad for you. Yes, some red wine has one good impact on one area of your health. In general, alcohol is bad for you. Just throwing it out there. But either way, Lil Darkie just keeps it moving. Why am I alive if I can't leave bed, though? Why am I alive if I must be fed those hospital food bits stuck in my red flow? Blood in my liver like a river till I'm dead, ho.
Which is interesting to me. Like, just the why am I alive if I can't leave bed, though? Why am I alive if I must be fed, though? This
kind of sounds like somebody stuck in a fucking
hospital,
bed.
yeah. But it also kind of, like, these are questions I've asked myself just randomly lying in bed. Like, what the fuck's the point of being alive if I have to eat food? Like, why do I have to eat? Why do I have to drink? It's and I know I sound stupid, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying it more of like, these are things that I've never really asked myself until I really thought about it. It's things like, when you really think about how we live and how we do certain things, it's like, are we really living if we have to have all these things to keep us going or whatnot? That's kind of what I took from that.
Fair enough. I do like the imagery and the way he approached it, kind of abstractly, but then he follows it. Why do you inhale the devil's lettuce? Because you won't let us. The young people these days are out to get us. Fuck you too, we're fed up. And that kind of looks at, to me, that generational gap of like boomers versus young folk, and then they're kind of like, why do you smoke pot? All these young kids are out to change our social norms. They're out to get us. And nah, fuck you too, we're fed up, because nobody can buy a house anymore, especially in Montreal, where it's like, anyway, there's no good housing prices here. It very much frustrates me. We're all going to die. The way it's set up for a failure, get up, move because you can't, won't regret, a little bit of dancing. So it's fascinating because he's commentating on how the world is in a very chaotic place, but at the end of the day, you may as well move because a little bit of dancing is going to help. And then in a sense, you're going to feel better, and then you'll get your endorphins. And a lot of people kind of act like it's not worth caring about legitimate issues, especially in music, because you can rapidly go ahead and get a little bit of dancing. And then I like how he follows it with ants and bugs upon my picnic basket, because one of the antsy pantsy, just picture like insects making you dance. And then shrug it off and take some acid, watch them eat. I'm feeling passive, see them take their time. Like, he did some acid and he's watching these ants slowly eat this food that would probably take like humans an insanely quick time by comparison to do, and this gets him feeling something kind of impatient. Their migration is awakened. Nothing here can dare forsake it. Cops arrest me because I'm naked. So he's just tripping on acid, staring at bugs, eating food, having these huge epiphanies of life, asking the deep questions, then goofs off in the lyrically because the cops show up because he's lying there naked.
But I think it's also like just a commentary in terms of like everything that's happy for a moment gets ruined.
But it's also like maybe the cops arrest him because his soul's naked and he's putting out real truth as opposed to like actually playing the game of vapid garbage. I feel like he's got a real powerful message, and in his crazy delivery manages to keep it super interesting, because it could both be about doing acid and staring at ants, but it could also be about shifting your life perspective but questioning the deeper things. And then does the do what you want, do that thing, because another person, so the chorus or hook or whatever comes back through. And man, the way that it starts the second verse with laws of the land are written by men that we don't know or consider our friends.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so true. I keep trying to tell fucking people in my life, a lot of middle class people, not a lot of old people, older than I, late 40s, 50s people, they believe the government was like, had their interest at heart. And you try to tell them the government's full of shit and lie to them. Like, they get mad at you and stuff. But I don't think that the government, the people writing the laws, are really thinking about our best interests. I really don't think that's what's going on. I think at a top level, fight the terrorist kind of way, yeah, they're probably thinking about us. But at the same time, nobody wants us to have civil liberties or choice. They basically want to strip away our freedoms to a point where it's not inconceivable that this podcast would be like blocked in the future because maybe we are a little too honest about our opinions, and maybe in the future that kind of shit gets censored. Anyway, I'm not saying that will happen. I'm saying it's possible that could happen. But either way, it's just such a great, blunt way to put it out. Like, why do we just trust the government that they know what's good for us? I try to listen, but I cannot be. Still, I have to stop Gaddafi. And that's a fucking interesting point, because they bring up how they assassinated Gaddafi, who debatably did a lot of good things for his country that the USA didn't. They didn't play ball with the USA, but they did a lot of things like resist the Federal Reserve and a few other like infrastructural changes that would have made them sustainable and not rely on the rest of the world economy in the way that everything is today. That's the quick, rusty version of it all. Coffee, honey, money, abundant. We can't die in infinite sunset. Nothing bad. Why isn't it funny? I eat the apple, proceed to run shit. And I'm like, that's pretty cool, right? Because he talks about like how we're all here and life is just kind of miserable and going on, and I think like there's this disillusioned sense of like why and all this effort isn't really fun. So what we do is, and I'm pretty sure it's proceed to ruin shit, but maybe it's run shit. But you eat the apple, and it's like referencing the Garden of Eden and the concept of the forbidden fruit and indulging into the temptations of your life.
Which I kind of got from that. I just wasn't too sure.
And then, yeah, goes back into the chorus, and it just feels like has us all, like, has Lil Darkie questioning why we do things, why people behave in a certain way, the generational acceptance of, you know, social norms and everything.
If we think about it from like an Assassin's Creed point of view, and this is like a stupid tangent, but eat the apple, proceed to run shit, yeah, it can actually make sense if you're thinking about the Garden of Eden and how Assassin's Creed built like this like apple thing, and then after once you get the little sphere apple
played
thing,
Assassin's Creed.
You become like ultimate, like you start fucking people up.
Fair. I never played Assassin's Creed, but I know the Garden of Eden story. Either way, I gave this track a 5 on 5. It was fucking perfect. It was an amazing song.
I gave this song another 4 on 5. I do like it. I do like, from what I got from it, this idea of like questioning how we're alive and we're following like these rules, and like we have all these other things that we have to do to take care of ourselves, really kind of questioning the idea if we're really living for ourselves. So that was something that I got interesting. I got from this.
All right, I think it's time for us to move along on this album, and we should talk about, I think it's a little short guy. It's only 2 minutes long, 2 minutes 4 seconds. It's the paint walking. All right, Chris, how do you feel about this one?
I liked it. I felt like he was a little bit
it's Lil Cuban, sis. It's not Wendigo.
I like this beat. It had more of like a hip-hoppy feel to it for me. It sounded more fun than it was like aggressive and really kind of out there. But I'll be honest, I miss a lot of the messages on this album. I don't really know what he's kind of saying in the first, but foot long line of ketamine. Don't be a square like Tenement.
So what's interesting about that to me is, do you remember that video of the chick or whoever who just did the giant ass fucking line of ketamine in Asia?
Oh yeah.
I don't know, that's what it made me picture. So it's like a foot long line of ketamine, like maybe it's really popular. Don't be a square like Tenement. So
well, I know what ketamine is.
And Tenement Square is where the government, China, performs some atrocities. Anyway, go inhale that sediment. Crackhead like take methamphetamine, knock like a cop won't let him in, come in, please sit and settle in, both the coast and settle in, please stop your meddling. And I feel like it's again just putting forth this crazed world that we live in, where, you know, people doing drugs, everything's kind of fucking crazy. You have your governmental abuse mixed with vapid drug use. That's what I took from that. But the way you described it, I thought was pretty cool. And kind of, I like the idea of like, yo, if you knock like a cop won't let him in. I mean, like, think, like, what does a cop knock like? I guess you have your own like secret codes and shit, so you know who's not a cop or whatever. I don't know. I mean, it's almost like people on everywhere, both coasts, everything's fucked up and everyone's nose is in everyone's business. And I thought that was an interesting point. And it just transitions. Like, wow, used to hit people, nowadays people hit me, hit up people, nowadays people hit me. People want beef, all you rappers have a cow. And I'm like, that's hilarious. Did he just quote Simpsons? He quoted Simpsons. Go have a cow, man. And don't have a cow, man. Like, as in, you know, calm the fuck down. People want to beef with him. He's like, you relax. I'm having some success. It's cool. People are hitting him up now. And then he's like, I'm eating that orange chicken and interviewing Mao. So, I mean, another Chinese reference, but I really don't fucking get that one at all.
Orange chicken is a legitimate Chinese dish. You can have orange chicken. General Tao chicken also looks orange.
But General Tao is not a traditional Chinese dish.
I mean, orange chicken.
Is it like, I don't know if it's traditional or if
you
it's
have like orange flavor on chicken.
Yeah, but is that American Chinese food? Because
No.
you said traditional.
My stepmother's Asian.
That's fine. I just didn't know. I'm not up to date on what the fake ass white people Chinese food is versus the real Chinese people. Anyway, see me starting down the block in the next verse. I end up painting Tibetan fanny pack. I'm like, what's a Tibetan fanny pack? What does this mean? Like Manny Pack. Okay, that's like Manny Pacquiao. I said fuck the faggots, like suck a tranny sack. And I don't really know what the fuck he's saying. I'll be honest. I'll give it to you. This I don't know what the fucking idea is going on here. My canny packing gas in it tightly. I might be anti-vax. You're anti-lack. Well, I might take. I don't know. Anyway, it sounds really fun to listen to, but I don't know what the fuck he's saying.
Well, your auntie lock, I might take her money off her panty sack. I can't be whack. So he's robbing your aunt if she's lacking.
But like that's it. The rest of it just is pretty.
But
whack.
I feel like he's just being himself expressive. Like, you can't fuck with me. Like, you just can't fuck with me. See me standing on the block in a painting Tibetan fanny pack. Whatever. Fanny packs are stylish, dude. Like, it's the craze. So he's being trendy. He's being out there with the Tibetan feel to it. Okay. Like Manny Pack, I said, did Manny Pack ever say fuck faggots?
I don't know.
Okay, so whatever. Like, suck a tranny sack. I mean, like, this is all trendy, relevant shit that people have been arguing about for the last, like, 6 months at least. So it kind of makes sense, but I feel like he's just being outlandish. Like, he's just wilding out there.
So apparently Manny Pacquiao did say that gays and lesbians are worse than animals. So now I understand the lyric. You're right. It is a good bar. I keep on spitting. I wonder when I'm 700 underground plunderers find a CD. Can't be slapped. That anti-rap. Fancy that. Playing the classics. And I kind of like the way he just, again, flows through it. And, you know, it has that semblance of rap.
Yeah.
But it is that anti-rap style. Like, it's all the things that it's supposed to be, but it's not, like, conventional. I would call this anti-rap. That's that white shit for people who are, like, making stuff that doesn't sound like rap, but adheres to the rules of rap in the way that it should be. But a lot of people who like rap would probably think it's whack. I don't know. And then he goes on to, like, fuck somebody, and then, or, you know, he's growing his little boner, and then whoever it is, maybe the auntie from earlier, is got an STD, and it's burning through the rubber. And then, you're not impressing me. Please go return with some numbers, which is a cool and interesting line because it shows off a lot of people who, like, and this is something I guess I look around my local scene and I'm like, yeah, come back with some real numbers. Not like relative to other artists in our city numbers. I mean, like, I'm a digital marketer by, like, at work. I know what real fucking numbers are. Nobody, like, a lot of people don't have them. Cell, powder, bell, tower, yell, ladder, okay now. He repeats that and then repeats, and then, yeah, so it's just kind of like, what I think that is kind of showing how this is what people do to get the numbers. They either go act this out in real life or they proceed to create songs solely based on those topics. See me standing down the block while I fainting, you better watch your head. Hip-hop is dead, but if I'm so hip and I'm hopping, what be then? And that's an interesting point because it seems to be like responding to the accusations that hip-hop is dead, but he's hip and he's hopping and he's pointing out that he's living it up. Then what's up?
Which I liked.
Man, it's just crazy. Let's just pretend that you believe in rebirth from matter under the dirt. No matter if your feet hurt, they'll return to be earth. I thought that was cool because he's saying, like, look, as long as you're willing to believe that hip hop can come back to life and be something different, then so be it. It can. I thought that was super cool. Then there's a little outro, which is just, I don't have a lot more to comment on that. Overall, this track is another crazy, great, interesting experience. So much gets packed into 2 minutes that you can't even believe it's that short when it's done. But it's an amazing track.
I gave it a 4.2 on 5. I liked it more because it was more hip-hoppier to me. Just the way he delivered it, the way he was kind of flowing with it. He does keep his, like, aggressive screaming and that's part of who he is, but I do like this, like, just this experiment that I'm getting. It's really just completely different. So for me, it really felt like he was just kind of flossing in his way, which I did enjoy, but I didn't really get much, like, I don't know, actual, like, I don't know if I don't think I probably got, like, the direct message, but I gave it a 4.2 on 5.
Alright, the next one's called I'm Addicted to Drugs and Tired of It. Wendigo's back. He's a genius. This is another great beat, another great experience. I like the spaced out, like, you almost feel like you're high listening to it, impact that a lot of, in my opinion, his music can bring to the table. But just, like, it feels like he does different drugs and then makes different songs. And that's what I think is truly interesting about it. It just feels some wavy, like, kind of spaced out, like, it's less of a happy, high experience, I would say. But what do you think about this track?
I like the idea of just the title, first off. I'm addicted to drugs and I'm tired of it. This is, like, this to me already, before even getting into it, was really interesting because it's like, what exactly are you gonna tell us? Like, are you changing? Are you showing us your experience to what you did with drugs or whatnot? So it was really cool to me. Now I'm just gonna kind of go through, and there's some parts that I do like and that I kind of understand, and there's some parts that I'm like, eh. So it starts off spinning inadvertently, grinning of no concern to me, churning my gullet turns and me burning. Don't know what that means.
I am getting fucked up and, like, my brain spinning, you know, like, my gullet makes me, I don't know, I think, let me Google gullet real quick to be right. Gullet is the passage by which food passes from the mouth to the stomach. So when your gullet is turning and burning, it's because you probably consume some alcohols and other such shits and you're all feeling away, you know? Mm-hmm. Metal furnace. Earnestly, I deserve it. I sit in silence because my mind is lacking accurate wordage or maybe
and I like
courage.
I like that because it's like when you don't know how you're feeling, or if you're feeling anxious or scared or whatnot, I tend to just sit in silence. I tend to just kind of try to back away and, I guess, think in my own head and really figure out what's going on, which I really connected to that. I felt like he's really kind of just being honest. Like, this is why I'm smoking. This is why I do these things, because I deal with this type of, I guess let's call it anxiety.
But I also look at it like you're trapped inside of your mind and you're looking at something, you're fucked up and you can't come up with the words to describe it because you're fucked up, but maybe it's because you're a coward.
Makes sense. With a flourish, write it, spit it, it finished, and then release it, plays, increase it, rinse, repeat, and don't be cheating, deleting comments, and buying interaction by packing that on the back end, impacting finance only through hacking. Which
that's a commentary on creating content, and the less, like, it's saying, like, don't cheat, don't buy your views, don't delete negative comments. Like, yo, I leave all the negative comments. If you see negative comments that have been deleted on this channel, it's because people have put some kind of threatening and harassing language in their comments, and YouTube is clearly purging that shit. So you should probably do something more like, say, your arguments were really lame and blah 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 blah. Don't be like, fuck these assholes, because if you say that, YouTube might ban you. I have nothing to do with that shit. You can call me an asshole, full consent given over here. But there are people who delete comments. I know for a fact hiding comments and things like that is common practice in a lot of industries. So people will complain, but you make it go away. And then, so you stack your numbers in a way that isn't legitimate, which fakes your back end, and that's a big problem. So if talent isn't necessarily driving success, but a fake delusion is, then it's like hacking. It's whacker than a sack of some yak and Jack Daniels, in fact. And I kind of liked how he's saying that kind of lame strategy is more pathetic than getting that kind of fucked up, but also kind of driving it back to the topic of being fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
So, but maybe commenting on himself too. So throw it out, slowing down. What's my plan of attack? Growing sound. So I like that his focus is going to be more music, be greater, louder than a pound of that gasoline when it's slapping me. You lacking tree passing these spliffies that I've been packaging. I just love it. He keeps focusing on different drugs and using his whole track to be like, I'm legitimate and you're not.
But it's not just. But see, that's where I kind of get confused, because then I smoke the shatter till I fall, bitch. I'm addicted to drugs and I'm sick of it. Smoke away the stress and then I roll up another stick of it. I'm addicted to drugs and I'm sick of it. Needle full of happiness, I tap the skin and then stick it in. We all addicted to drugs and we are. And then he goes, and I think, into verse 2.
But like, if we think about that in a more ironic sense of the situation, maybe it's all the music is addicted to drugs and he's sick of it.
Oh.
Like, I don't know. Whatever you do in your personal life is fine, but there's a difference between spit in reality and it being like, I wake up and I roll a spliff and I light that on fire. I mean, that could be what you do every morning, but you also probably take a shit. You're not putting that in every song. Mm-hmm. You also probably eat breakfast and you're not putting that in every song. And you also probably walk, literally. I mean, the motion of your feet moving. If you can't walk, I'm so sorry. My point is, maybe we're all too like hooked on glorifying the drugs or just rapping about it, like whatever, it's boring. And then we think about the real life implications as people like Juice WRLD pass away. Whether or not it was a special circumstance over there, but it was still sad. And then I like how he goes, we all addicted to drugs and we wired. So everyone's fucking flying because a bunch of people are on a bunch of shit. But then simultaneously, Johnny at work off a Xanax tire. I like the way the beat skips and everything, like life slows down like you're on a Xanax. That's a fucking level of dedication to a dope song. Because it delays the timing and then the song just picks up. So it's almost like they insert some extra bars to like move the whole math equation of the flow down. It's dope.
But I do like the idea of what I'm getting from this is everybody's addicted to drugs, whatever your drug is. Johnny at work is hooked off of Xanax, but I feel like he's alluding to one of two things. One, Johnny is being fed Xanax by corporate, pharma, all that. Or two, he is voluntarily taking Xanax for his own escapism, personal reasons, or whatnot. I kind of get this feeling that Lil Darkie is kind of expressing how he is voluntarily trying to escape with all of these drugs and he's using this to help himself cope or whatnot, and how there is a division. There's a division between people voluntarily taking drugs and then being told to take drugs, but there's also the same idea of everybody's just taking drugs.
I'm sure. I look at it like he brought up the Xanax tired as a contrast to the idea of being wired. So we all on uppers, we all on downers. Yeah, motherfucker, copping up black in the shower, motherfucker, pucker up and huck a loogie. I mean, at that point, you're smoking shit, right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe you're just deteriorated inside. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, there's nothing ruby in it. You diminished, truly finished. I got no time for that, people whose rhymes are whack and lines all crack in tiny sacks. So when you look at that, I think what he's doing is he's commentating on, like, it's not necessarily doing drugs. It's the way people bring drugs into music. Like, do you know there are people who are sober in this that pretend to do drugs to sell records? Shit like that,
Future.
Oh, he does drugs. He just doesn't do all the drugs. He doesn't do lean in other states. He restricts it to weed, but in his home state he does. Remember from that album? Anyway, because we reviewed a future album.
I heard a whole thing where he admittedly open to not doing any drugs and he just makes drug music for the money.
It's possible, but I also believe that at some point in his youth he was addicted to promethazine and other such shit. And then he's probably real sober now, making drug music, but I would argue that that guy has a past. Anyway, I think it's also kind of showing how if you look at music as drugs, it's also like we're addicted to music in a way. I think this song is not direct, and a lot of his music is metaphorical. So on the one hand, at face value, he's rapping about drugs, but when you really think deeper, it is a commentary on the music scene as well. What I really like is when he goes, when I was a youngin', I suffered for being different, but isn't it funny how by sticking out I'm fitting in? I think it's indicative of solid qualities, and honestly, the flies people stick to shit. And I thought that was nifty, right? Because I relate to that. I'm clearly a goofball, and a lot of people when I was younger didn't like me. I was a bit of a loser. And now people kind of admire the fact that I say I'm going to do shit, and then I do it. And a lot of people aren't able to actually do that. They'll say they're going to do shit, and then they don't. So that changed a lot. So there's some honest quality about integrity and being real that pops off in a weird way, but I like that. I like the fact that he's identified that the qualities within him that made him be a social outcast in the first place are the real shit that makes people stick to him now. And then he's like, I like to knit a bit and sew a little. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm done with this. This song is freaking great, man. There's a lot more lyrics. it just keeps going. Every single one of his songs just keeps going. But again, they're not like long. Actually, I think this one was pretty long. This one might have been like 4 minutes. Yeah, this is one of the longer ones on the album. But you gotta understand, like, my enjoyment listening to this track is fucking next level. Like, this song's a 4.5 on 5 for me. But I also don't know if there's a lot more to me to add. I like when he goes, this is an elegy to celery, a tribute to the green, because it's the only thing these motherfuckers need. I think he's maybe trying to drive home that people's going in on a lot of harder drugs when we should all just be smoking weed, and that's all we really need. And then there's the with righty bozos and lefty homos, fucking with no I go no fucking gadget, you get your baguette. Like, that's pretty funny, because go gadget and whatever. But I like that he's also smashing on the right and the left. That's pretty fair. I like to try to be centrist too. Anyway, it's a dope fucking track. I'm really happy with it. It really left me in a good place. This sounds fucking great so far.
I gave this song a 4.5 on 5. I really did enjoy it. I like the high rapid energy that we're getting from it, and we're also just the way that you can interpret this on many different levels is really insane.
Fair enough. I guess that's going to bring us to the end of the first part of this review. I'm kind of concerned because there's sirens like fucking crazy going on in the neighborhood, and I have no idea. Maybe there's something bad that happened. But either way, we still have seven more Lil Darkie tracks to talk about for the second half of this album. We figure with the intro bit, it works out to put in the extra track on the second half. It's been such a pleasure so far to talk about this in my humble experience. Let us know what you guys think, for sure, in the comment section, and yeah, we'll definitely answer up with you there. Feel free to subscribe to the channel for more content, and part 2, hit the like button if you liked it, hit the dislike button if you didn't, and special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black, Hurricane, Lindo Williams, Coney, Sparks, and Scribble. They're dope. They helped us get a new camera. They helped us get on the Spotify's and stuff, because that costs money. You're gonna help us with other stuff, and they get to tell us what albums they want to see us review, which is always super fun. So you'll get to see tons of Patreon driven classic rap albums, because they're almost always classic rap albums. Anyway, super fun. We also make music. You can check that out on this channel. Let us know what you think. Super dope. I made an album, dropped it in October, working on a new album. Get that out hopefully in the spring, maybe. We'll see. Depends. And looking forward to hearing what you think about that too. And to wrap things up, as we like to do, live long and prosper, everybody.